Hello again there, everybody. This is going to be Jun League number 50. I certainly appreciate everyone who's been here with me for a long time, and I definitely want to welcome everyone who's a little bit newer. Without further ado, let's do this semi-centennial league here. So we're playing the exact same list as the league I finished up just a few minutes ago. The idea behind this particular build is that we want to maximize our multi for one or snowball advantage. I'm playing a majority of cards that either do their job hyper efficiently, be it 1 mana removal or 1 mana discard, or I'm playing a card that, in addition to being a threat, impacts some other aspect of the game. So, like, for example, Red and 6, Dark Confidant, Tireless Tracker, Liliana of the Veil, all ways to snowball card advantage. Kolaghan's Command, Bloodbraid Elf, and really just those two are just, and Seasoned Pyromancer, that was the other one I was trying to think of, are ways to produce cards immediately. And then things like Dreadbore, Terminate, Tarmogoyf, and Tarmogoyf, not typically things that do their job ridiculously well in addition to performing some kind of other function. Tarmogoyf's real only job is being a generic beat stick, and Terminate and Dreadbore fill a similar role in the removal category. They do one thing and they do it well, but I'm aiming to have, if something costs more than 1 mana, I want it to perform more than one job. So, like, while Bob produces cards, Scavenging Ooze impacts the graveyard, Red and 6 produces cards and can act as removal, Tracker can win a game by itself, you can get extra cards off of it, Pyromancer provides late game value, Kolaghan's Command's a 2 for 1, Liliana of the Veil, card advantage, Bloodbraid, card advantage, can turn a corner, and Liliana Last Hope. Another interesting addition, because I have so many creatures that are worth getting back. I think this Liliana Last Hope has the potential to be a 4 for 1 or even higher, because, you know, you minus it, you get back a Bloodbraid, there's a 2 card advantage right there. You plus it maybe, and you can kill something, then you can minus it again, buy back something else that could also be a 2 for 1. So Liliana of the Veil, I think in this particular, Liliana the Last Hope, in this particular version, I definitely think has a very high ceiling. Our sideboard is oriented towards beating the various big mana decks, as well as the graveyard decks. I think the mid-range matchup should probably be pretty good as is, especially with this orientation. I expect to still be disfavored versus the various Uro piles, but as a consideration for that, I think having a build with only 2 Tarmogoyfs favoring the more steamrolling, favoring the cards that can effectively win a game by itself will be advantageous versus the various Uro piles. So if we play against something big mana, like Tron or Titan, we have things like Alpine Moon, Cleansing Wildfire, and Necromentia to combat that. And if we play against anything graveyard-oriented, be it Oops All Spells or just like Honest Dredge, we've got Necromentia again, Ashiok, and Nihil Spellbomb. If we play against anything hyper-aggro that's seeking to get under us, we've got extra removal spells in Lightning Bolt and Collective Brutality. And then Collective Brutality is also pretty flexible. It can come in versus the various control decks where we want to take things like Cryptic Command. So with that said, let's take a look at the current modern metagame that influenced this build. So we've got the Uro/Omnath pile still at the tippy top. And we've got various aggro decks all also in the top. Rakdos Shadow in at number 2. Another version of Death Shadow in at number 5. And we've got various Blitz decks also in the top 15. Here we see Mono Red. Here we see Blue-Red Blitz. And also just last league we played against stuff like Is It Control. We played against Jund Death Shadow. We did not see Death and Taxes, but I expect that to be a good matchup. Ad Nauseam, I expect it to be a pretty strong matchup just off of the basis of quick clocks and discard. And for a similar reason, we beat Storm just last league because we've got lots of good disruption. Again, prioritizing Inquisitions and Thought Seizes and Fatal Pushes, and then we were able to back it up with quick, disruptive threats like Dark Confidant and Scavenging Ooze that were able to keep the disruption coming, in addition to providing pressure on both the opponent's resources and life total. So let's just go ahead and jump into the league, the 50th one. Not that, we want constructed. Let's use points. I'm gonna try to eat away from the mic. I don't think it can pick it up, but hopefully it doesn't. Match number 246. Yeah, I mean, Swamp is awkward in that it doesn't cast Ren in 6. We're also on the draw. I'm actually leaning towards Mulligan. We've got turn 2 Scavenging Ooze, but that's about all we're guaranteed. We can't even cast the Ren in 6 off of the Swamp. I think I'd probably keep if this were a land other than Swamp. But with no guarantee of a 1 mana or even a good 2 mana play, because we don't know that the Ooze is going to be good, I think this is a ship. It's pretty close, though. Alright, well, this makes me wish I'd kept the 6, because obviously this is less functional. I mean, we've got turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Dark Confidant. This is, I think, closer. If we can guarantee a land in the next 2 cards, I'm pretty happy with this keep. It is a risk, and it's going to feel bad if we don't hit it. But if we do hit it, I'm liking the spot. And I think I'm going to bottom Tracker just because it costs the most mana, is going to be the hardest to cast. And if the first Dark Confidant dies, I'm probably going to want to back up anyway. Alright, Tarn. Okay, well that makes me happy I have 2 Dark Confidants at least. Land, please. Not a land. We've got another turn to hit it. Alright, and it looks like we're playing against blue-red control, or it could be Jeskai still. They might get like a Triome or something. So they do have the Bolt for a first copy of Dark Confidant, but Remand I think is going to be even more annoying, especially while the opponent is trying to hit their land drops. So I'll take the Remand. And then if I'm fortunate enough to hit a land next turn, I'll probably just lead on Ooze, because I think Dark Confidant is probably more important. And if they're going to kill something, I think I'd rather it be Ooze. Alright, and they are Jeskai. Looks like something like an Aspiring Spike list. Alright, I'll get my Swamp. Definitely want to be casting Dark Confidant. Forest also just doesn't do a whole lot. Like, I don't want to get Forest with it when I have Terminate. So really need to find the land here. Land would put us in an okay spot, and we don't hit it. Unfortunate. Starting off League 50 strong, I see. Sure. Land, please. Alright. The opponent, we know, has a Lightning Bolt, but I'm not going to do nothing. I think Swamp is, again, more important than Forest, which would have helped me cast the Ooze to make the Lightning Rod play that I mentioned before. But, I mean, if I can somehow get this other Bob to trigger, even once, I'll be happy. Alright, and we hit a land. That's pretty important. Alright, I do think I should be getting the Bob down now. I could play the Scavenging Ooze, but I want to get the Bob under the Cryptic Command, if possible. Did you Remand? That's unfortunate. Well, we've got our mana sources now. Unfortunately, they're in the Cryptic realm already. I think we're pretty behind. Missing lands will do that. But I don't think I think I had an okay keep, especially when the alternative was going to 5. Alright, well that could let me Pyromancer as early as next turn. If they're gonna Cryptic something, I guess I'm hoping that they Cryptic the it's actually kind of unclear now, because like Scavenging Ooze has merit of its own in that it stops Mystic Sanctuary and can also make Snapcaster worse. So I think I might actually just prioritize the Ooze now, in that I'll lead on the Bob, because if their answer is only a counter spell, they're more likely to counter the first thing that I do. I mean, them not crypting here means that they've got to have removal, and they do. Yep. Wildfire on top. Rude. So that can take me off of my Overgrown Tomb, but I can get Basic Forest. Alright, so I gotta think, like, no matter what I do here, it's getting Cryptic. And I don't want my Ooze getting Cryptic. That seems bad. They've got Wildfire on top. I mean, if they take me off of my Overgrown Tomb, I'll definitely want to get Forest. I'm gonna go for the Pyromancer. It's not ideal, but I don't have many better options. It's like that or Ooze, and I think Ooze might be more important long run. Like if this gets countered, at least it's got some value out of the graveyard. But yeah, not looking good. I'm gonna need the opponent to have close to nothing for the rest of the game. Yep. And then I'm gonna hope they don't have 4th Cleansing Wildfire. So it'd be a good turn for a Bloodbraid or the like. Well, we're hitting lands now. I could play the Ooze now. I've only got the 1 green source. I could also just like shock this in and then hold up a Seasoned Pyromancer activation. I think this hand really showcases how this matchup should get better for us game 2. Is like all 3 of these cards are likely to come out. They just don't do a whole lot. I think I'm going to go the route of the Seasoned Pyromancer out of the yard. There's just so much the opponent can have, and I'd rather them not use their mana on my turn. I mean, either way, it's looking pretty grim, but at least this makes the opponent want to tap out for something. Well, that's pretty good. Click, please. There we go. We've got some pushes for the first Sharks. Not exactly how I want to be using them, but I mean, I'll do what I gotta do. No extra Helix is nice. Alright. I think the first big spell the opponent casts is going to make me pretty sad, but I mean, not much I can do about it other than hope. Alright, I'm not going to fetch here. Like, I do want to get green, but I also don't want the opponent to be able to Snapcaster something in response. Liliana's a good one, but I'll attack first, because if they're going to Cryptic or something, I will want to get the attack in before that happens. Is it even worth it to play Liliana? Honestly, the opponent is probably just going to Cryptic anyway, even if I don't cast something, so it's probably worth it to jam. Force, make a thing. Yep. I guess I should probably upkeep this. Not the ideal use of Fatal Pushes, but I don't have many other uses. Should I just try to kill it again? Probably. And I'll get Overgrown Tomb here. I definitely want more green. And I need black for the push that I'm about to cast. As bad as next counter would be, there's really just not much I can do about it. These sharks are going to be a pain no matter what. Alright, and that represents Mystic Sanctuary, but I do have a Scavenging Ooze. I don't know what I need, but it definitely starts with Bloodbraid. Alright, well, more lands is not going to do it. I could attack with Scavenging Ooze, and I can't even outsize a shark. I mean, I could terminate this one and then outsize the other shark to trade for it, but that has me putting down my my Mystic Sanctuary mana. So I think I'm just going to have to terminate Big Shark and pass and be sad about it. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to get all these removal spells out of my deck. I'll have to be careful of the Platinum Empyrean sideboard plan. Boo. Alright, I can see it. I can see it. You got it. Alright, so, bye, Fatal Push. Go away. Bye, Terminate. I'll keep the Dreadbore for the Planeswalkers. Let's bring in the Grave Hate. Let's bring in the Brutality. And this has us needing to cut 2. What's up? Thanks for the resub. I'm looking at cutting Tarmogoyf because, like I mentioned, I really don't need generic beat sticks. I need things that can snowball advantage. So I really do like cutting the Tarmogoyfs. Potentially hazardous in that if the opponent plays an early Planeswalker, I'm going to need a way to pressure it. But I honestly like everything else in the deck more than I like that Tarmogoyf. Maybe since I'm not boarding out any Inquisitions or Thoughtseizes, I can take out a Brutality just because I don't want to like overboard on that kind of effect. Just have like one more creature in the deck. That doesn't seem ridiculous. Yeah, let's go first. Hopefully with some lands. No? Okay. No. This is the second league in a row I just get mana screwed out of my first match. I mean, if we can spike a land off the top, we've got a good shot with the Wrenn and 6. But if they got the Force, then that's not even a play. I think I gotta go down again. Yeah, I mean, this is as good as we've seen. I think I'm just gonna keep the 2 mana sources and try to stick a Wrenn and 6. Alright, so this will plan on getting Overgrown Tomb, and then I'll attempt to Wrenn and 6 on 2. It's possible I should play Dark Confidant just because it's the card advantage engine that doesn't potentially get forced. But it does get bolted, so it just opens me up to a whole bunch of new problems. So I think I'll just go with the Wrenn and 6. I think it's more likely that the opponent has a force. But the Wrenn and 6 is definitely I think the Wrenn and 6 is definitely better. Because like Wrenn and 6, the only thing they can use to answer it is the Force of Negation right now, or a Spell Snare. But Bob is Bolt, Path, and a Lightning Helix, which we know they're playing. So I'm just gonna pray this sticks. It does. Okay. I mean, this is about as good as I can hope for off of a mulligan to 5. Yeah, I think if I play a Bob here and they just like untap and Helix it, it's really bad for me. Alright, now they could have Remand mana. So despite drawing Blackleaf Cliffs, I think I should still fetch to play this Liliana, because then I can at least get the card back with the Renin 6. Alternatively, I could just play the Dark Confidant. I mean, no matter what I do, there's not like an excellent way to fight against a Remand. So I think I'm just going to make the play that generates the most cards, which is ideally play this Liliana, buy back a Verdant. Gust. Sure. Doesn't matter where I put it, it's getting shuffled. I mean, I guess I'll play the Liliana. It's weak to Celestial Purge. But I'm not going to play around the sideboard card, I don't think. And then I could keep the Swamp in case I draw like a Bloodbraid next turn. But I mean, there is some merit to keeping double red, and I do have something to do with my mana next turn, so I think I'll just ditch the Swamp. And there goes a Wildfire. Sure. So again, there's not really a good way to go about this, given that I'm already down 2 resources from the beginning. I doubt this triggers, but I'll be happy if it does. Nope. I could have, in a different timeline, kept the Swamp instead of the Blackleaf Cliffs, because then I could replay the Dark Confidant if it gets remanded, but I just really don't think Dark Confidant is going to have time to trigger. And then them bolting my Liliana and then not doing anything after it is a little curious. Drawing Renin 6 is nice. I kind of want to make my 4th land drop. I could Renin 6, get back a land, and then just discard that, and then next turn get back a land and play a land. That is a play I could make. I think it's what I'm going to try for. Like, if they had another Bolts, they'd probably just would have killed the Liliana immediately. I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, an Archmage's Charm. Another Remand. Yep. Well, I'm still going to plus this Liliana, given the opponent's hand is apparently all spells. So now I have to ask myself the vital question, do I want to lose to a Jace the Mind Sculptor? I can keep the Dreadbore to fight the Jace, or I could keep my 2 card advantage engines. I mean, I did say that if the opponent had another Lightning Bolt or a Helix, they probably would have cast it to kill the Liliana, since they already committed 1 to it. So there's a non-zero chance the Dark Confidant actually gets to trigger off. I think being down 2 cards already, I need to make the high risk play of just keep my resource engines and really hope that I can get them going. I don't think I can risk keeping a Dreadbore for a Jace, because like even if they Jace 0, that's already conceding another 2-for-1, and even if I kill the Jace, I'm not confident that's the game I'm winning anyway. So I think I do have to make the higher risk line of just try to get my own card advantage rolling, which would mean discarding my 1-for-1. That's a Remand they're targeting, yeah. Okay. So if they Remand or counter, I can at least get down my other resource engine, and I think I'm going to play all my cards first, because if everything sticks, or I actually get to play everything, that can make the Liliana activation asymmetrical. So let's do this first. And again, if they had a Bolt, I think they had just killed the Liliana with it. Or counterbalance. Rude. Alright, but like I said, I think there's a non-zero chance that this Dark Confidant actually gets to do something. I definitely want second red, and I could probably benefit from more green. If I draw a black spell, there's a chance that I want to Liliana and do that thing, but the odds are pretty low. I think what I'm going to do is get the Stomping Ground here. I think the odds more green is important are higher than the odds that more black is important. Alright. And my read is no more spot removal unless it's path. It's path. Alright, now I'll get more black. Alright, and I know the opponent's card is Remand. So that's not bad. I mean, they'll Remand it. Probably. This at least chokes their Mystic Sanctuary. They're going to have to, like, do it now. If not for Remand. Put Cryptic on top. So now they kind of can't Remand. Because if they Remand, I'll stick the Liliana in plus. I mean, they've got Cryptic on top. Should I just play the Liliana anyway to bait the Remand? Like, if I let them untap with both the Remand and Cryptic, I'm just never resolving something again. So if I'm going to take away the potential for the opponent having access to double counters, I think I do just have to jam. Can you imagine this game if I had 2 more resources? I think I'd be very ahead. Alright, so the opponent's card is now Cryptic. Renin 6, not bad. Let's start with an attack. And if I Liliana plus, they almost definitely have to Cryptic, because then they just won't have access to the Cryptic. That said, if I Liliana plus, I don't want to have to discard this Renin 6, so I should probably just jam both Planeswalkers. If I Liliana first, they can counter. If I Liliana first and they let it resolve, and then I plus, they could like bounce something in response. Like, if I'm empty-handed and I plus the Liliana, it just can't go well. So I think I actually have to lead on the Renin 6, because then I can buy back a land and potentially discard that, leaving up double black and max green in case either plan doesn't work. I mean, if the opponent draws a card with a Cryptic and I can somehow... Okay, they're drawing. I was going to say, if I can somehow have the opponent brick off, then it's possible I pull ahead. Like, if the opponent somehow hasn't drawn a Remand here, like I could just be ahead. Alright, I'm ahead. The opponent's got many draws that pull him back. Alright, and that's Mystic Sanctuary, assuming there's more than 2. And if there isn't, I guess there isn't, because they would have activated it in response. And Kolaghan's Command is a strong one. I do want to continue plussing this Liliana. That said, there really isn't a good mode for it. Like, I need to use the Kolaghan's Command now or else I'm not plussing. So, like, maybe I should just not use the Kolaghan's Command and not plus. An ultimate isn't necessarily worth a whole lot. How many creatures does the opponent have in the yard? A whopping 0. Same with me. So I think I may want to save this Kolaghan's Command in case the opponent draws a Lightning Bolt. And again, I'm not certain that a Liliana Ultimate is even worth that much. So I kind of like just not plussing and holding the Kolaghan's Command. And then I can slowly eat the opponent's graveyard as the turn goes forward. I'll eat like 2 things at a time. I'm never going to put down a green if I can avoid it. Okay. Alright, so now that the opponent is hellbent and no fetches in play, I'll go ahead and just eat my opponent's 3 most menacing spells. I want to eat Path. If they're going to remove my Scavenging Ooze, I want it to be with a way that I can buy it back. And then I guess I'll take... Gust is annoying. So if I draw something stupid here, I'll just plus the Liliana and discard it to keep the Kolaghan's Command. Or we just draw more Kolaghan's commands. I think the Kolaghan's commands are worth more in my hand than they are to just put one more loyalty on a Liliana. Because again, ultimate I'm not sure is worth a whole lot. I could draw step Kolaghan's commands. This would mean that if my opponent draws Planeswalkers, I can reduce the effect of those. If they draw counters, then they'll get to counter, which would be unfortunate. But I mean, them drawing a counter spell at any stage is going to counter these Kolaghan's commands. So draw stepping, it seems like a fine time to do it. Cool. All right, we mulliganed to 5 and we got there. That's the power of not having dead removal spells in the deck, right? Alright, I think I'm just going to run it back. It worked well enough the first time. Sorry if you heard my chewing on the mic. I didn't think about it for a sec. What is it with these one-landers? Alright, the opponent has mulligans. This is like another one of those hands where, like, if we could guarantee a land on top, it would be phenomenal. But we can't do that. It's a very high-risk hand. I mean, these games are going to go long, right? We've got the fetch to comp with the Renin 6. We've got some powerful Planeswalkers and a card advantage engine. It's really close, but I think I'm going to be safer than sorry and just mulligan. Okay, this sounds good. And I think I'm going to be bottoming a Verdant here. We've got the Renin 6 to get more lands. Again, there's no guaranteed resolves. The opponent must mulligan to 5 as well. Let's bottom a land. Keeping a fetch for sure. Well, obviously we can't bottom both because we're only on 6 here. It's the opponent's turn to mulligan to 5, which feels good. Inquisition or Thoughtseize would be the ideal case. Verdant, say go. And I think I'll lead on the Renin 6 here. Assuming no remand, this would be the best turn to get it down under a alternate cost Force of Negation. Oh wow, Tail's End. I did not think about that. I know the Aspiring Spike list is playing that card, but I forgot to play around it. Alright, well luckily we drew something to do on 1 mana. And we've got Renin 6 to keep our lands coming. Ooh, they've got the Jace. As annoying as remand is, it's completely possible I should just not allow my opponent the potential of playing the Jace. Like Jace is a way I easily lose. Let's just take that. So I'll attempt a Renin 6 here. I fully expect it to be remanded. Opponent now has Cryptic Mana, so we're going to hope they don't have that as well. Bloodbraid is a good one, assuming we get to there. Snap a Remand. Disgusting. Yeah, this is crawling away from us. That Tail's End did put me behind. Alright, well a land is not a spell, so I've got that going for me. Ravine, not bad. I like getting the ooze down because the opponent can start buying back things with Mystic Sanctuary. Also, my life total is somewhat pressured. You got another counter? Oh my god, the opponent's got it all. Now they can put the Cryptic back on top. I mean, they had a good mulligan to 5, and then I didn't play around Tail's End. Had I played around the Tail's End, I think we'd be in a better spot. Obviously, having access to more mana is good. Well, they've got Cryptic in hand. I guess this would be a good time to instant speed a Kolaghan's Command, likely at the opponent's upkeep. And I think I'm in a position where I actually want to prioritize getting Snapcaster off the field. And then the other mode, I guess, like, I've got plenty of threats, so getting back an Ooze doesn't necessarily fill a gap in my plan. I think I'm going to have the opponent discard a card, because, like, their bottleneck is still quantity of resources. So I'm gonna attempt to have them discard and kill the Snapcaster. And then if they Cryptic this, at least this ideally lets me stick a Liliana and start pressuring resources that way. And then if this resolves, then, like, I'm also pretty happy. Counter draw. So now the Nightmare scenario is another remand from the opponent to deny my Liliana. If this sticks, we've got a fighting shot, but if it doesn't, I think I'm about ready to scoop it. Alright. Alright, so the opponent's gonna have effectively many counter spells, but they don't have a form of actually getting me dead yet. And Liliana's gonna be pretty nice to threaten their hand. I can Brutality as well to hopefully deny a Cryptic command, or at least force them to counter it. Yep, Cryptic on top. And from what we know from last game, there are only 2 Mystic Sanctuaries. That said, they can start Crypticing to bounce a Mystic Sanctuary and get that loop going. Pyromancer is not bad. Let's probably just lead here. I honestly don't think I'm ever going to be, now that I'm at 8, in a position where I'm comfortable enough to play the Bob against the deck playing a bunch of burn spells. Alright, we know that they have Cryptic. I guess I should probably just Brutality. They could counter bounce, but at least that's not them bouncing a Mystic Sanctuary. We know that they've got a target for this. Counter draw. Okay. Pretty happy that wasn't a counter bounce. I need the opponent to brick on something powerful. Interesting what I'm discarding here. I honestly think I might just discard Seasoned Pyromancer. We're not in the bone zone to a Planeswalker if we keep the Dreadbore. And assuming I've tracked the opponent's hand correctly, I think they've got another Cryptic. I'm not going to play the Pyromancer and discard my 2 good spells, so I think I'm just going to play the Blackleaf Cliffs and attempt to Bloodbraid next turn. Also, again, Pyromancer's got some value out of the graveyard. So I guess we'll see if they've got 3rd Sanctuary. Oh god, Shark Typhoon. Alright, well, we die to a copy of Lightning Bolt or Helix. We've got the Dreadbore for it. If they don't attack the Liliana, we get to Edict it, so I guess they're going to attack the Liliana for that reason. Unless they drew a burn spell. Alright, so I think we just have to really hope that we get to kill the shark, and I don't think I can bait with Spellbomb, because if they've got Remand, I need to be able to recast this. Alright, cool. Still think we're pretty significantly behind. Being at 8 versus a 3-card opponent, playing a control deck is definitely unnerving. Last Hope is good. We get to empty the opponent's yard. And into empty mana, Bloodbraid is the best thing to cast more often than not. If the opponent has somehow bricked out and has hit lands, then this Bloodbraid may be good. If we're facing like another Shark Typhoon, then we could be in the doghouse. Remanding a Spell Bomb, interesting. I'll attack before playing a land and then replaying the Spell Bomb. I guess I should get Forest here. Alright, we're not out of it yet, but it's going to be difficult. Control opponent with 4 cards is pretty scary. I mean, they didn't cycle a Shark Typhoon to ambush the Bloodbraid on the first go. And Inquisition's actually a pretty nice draw, because that may make the way for the Liliana. To note, maybe I should have gotten Swamp, because that would enable me to triple black spell and hold up a black activation. Alright, we get to Last Hope here. Get our draw too. Alright, we're somehow not super behind. The opponent does have good draws like that one. We have a Ravine in play, so we can potentially threaten the Jace. But Jace was a pretty phenomenal draw for the opponent. They get to Wildfire us too, yeah. I'll get the Swamp. Jace is pretty bad for us, not gonna lie. Oh, and they get to Helix that as well? Rough. Alright, we're short on time, but we should be okay on time. Bloodbraid would be excellent because that can have us take down the Jace. And I guess playing my lands is relatively free. It's not free if I hit land and Bloodbraid and I want to cast the Bloodbraid. So I guess for that reason, it's basically free to just not do it. Like, I'll just discard the land. Ashiok? We could be on the mill plan potentially, who knows? We hit a Flagstones, a Bolt, a Teferi, and a Shark Typhoon. I mean, the opponent drawing this Jace in the top deck war was pretty bad, especially when we didn't have like a way to like actively pressure it. We've got this seasoned Pyromancer, but that doesn't actually lethal it. I'll probably end up sacrificing the Spell Bomb at end step here just to get the card off of it. That puts me at 6, which is dead to 2 bolts, but if I think I'm dying to 2 bolts at some point anyway. So let's just get the card now. Another Ashiok. Maybe we really are on the mill plan. Inquisition, not the worst. There's a lot that I just die to, especially Shark Typhoon. We know that 2 are out of the opponent's deck. They've got a path. Yeah, it's annoying. Get another land. Inquisition resolves. No, it's a Snapcaster. They have Snapcaster path. Bob, not excellent, but I'll play it. It'll block a Snapcaster. Yeah, this Jace was absolutely insane. The opponent drew pretty soft for a few turns, so they were due for a good one. Out of lands. So I'm off of green now. They're just gonna hope that my Bob kills me. It could. Alright, I need this Bob to be exceedingly kind. Or the opponent can just draw one of their burn spells that they've got to have. We've seen one Helix and one Bolt, so they've kept some number in. I assume they boarded some out. Pretty crazy how, like, when we draw dead at the same time, and then when we draw fireworks at the same time. It's like, ooh, we drew a threat, and then they just, like, answer it immediately. It's like, crap. But yeah, we're, like, kind of on the mill plan. We need 2 more turns worth of mill between, like, Ashiok milling twice and then a new Ashiok milling. Kind of funny how I'm clearing the top of my opponent's library for him. Oh, they found the Bolt. Alright, you got me. What were we gonna hit? That's off of Bob. Draw this. Yeah, we weren't winning. That Jace top deck was too good. Yeah, sounds fine. Another awkward mana situation, but I mean, we've got all of our colors at least. I guess I'll just lead on Blood Crypt tapped. opponent has mulliganed once. Sanctuary on 1, okay. Alright, turn 2 Dark Confidant. Well, the mana continues to be annoying. It's like drawing worst cases left and right. Please don't kill my Dark Confidant. I just want to trigger it. Counterbalance. Alright, well, we got a Bob to trigger at least. Now, this is going to be a long league, let me tell you. Don't blind flip a 3, please. Terminus. Alright, well, we know they're drawing Terminus. So, I mean, our Bob at least got its value. Got our Liliana with the Force, pitching an Opt, okay. Surprise, surprise. Ravine, not a bad pickup. If I'm gonna play Tarmogoyf here, I need to play the Peatland. I kind of want to get the Ravine down, and like, this isn't the worst turn to Pyromancer even, because like the resources that I've got in my hand are already pretty dead. I kind of like playing the Pyromancer here, especially when a Path to Exile solves my Tarmogoyf so simply. So let's hope they don't blind flip a 3. They hit an Opt. Alright, and then we'll pitch. Definitely Mountain. I think I want to keep the Dreadbore for potential Planeswalkers, and I don't want to ditch my other threat, so let's ditch Peatland. Alright, so Opt is on top. That's what the opponent is drawing. Kolaghan's Command's a nice one. If the opponent opts, we can maybe Kolaghan's Command in response, but let's just start on an attack. I have to determine how afraid I want to be of future Terminus. It's like playing around any other sweeper though, right? So it's like, which creature do I want to play? I think I'm going to play the Tarmogoyf. It'll close slightly faster. And if the opponent is able to Miracle a Terminus, I may want the Ooze to play afterwards and like have multiple green up. Alright, so let's see if they can Miracle a 2-mana spell. They do! No fair. Alright, well, I guess I'll Shock in the Tomb. And, like, now that I know that this Kolaghan's Command isn't going to be countered, maybe I should just do it now. I could upkeep it, but then I open myself up to Cryptic Command, so I think I'll do it now. Then I'll have you discard. They've got Omen on top. They could opt it away and, like, try to reset it. They topped though, so they still have Omen. Oh, okay, they're gonna actually Omen. Makes sense. All right, so they're gonna try to like hit a 3 off of their top 2. I mean, there's Force of Negation and also Archmage's Charm that would do the trick. I really would like this Kolaghan's Command to resolve. They topped and bottomed. That's not a good sign. Actually, it doesn't matter because they would draw the card immediately. Alright, and Flooded Strand is revealed. So they like a card they put into their hand, is all I know. They discarded Entreat. Okay. I feel ahead, but not by much. They played a Scalding Tarn, so that could represent another Mystic Sanctuary. Thoughtseize is a good one. I think I'm just going to lead on an attack. Like, I could activate Ravine and try to get in that way, but I still have spells that I want to cast. And then I'll lead on Thoughtseize and then see how they react. Path to Exile was revealed. Pretty rough. All right. Well, again, they could Mystic Sanctuary. They're probably playing many Mystic Sanctuaries because that maximizes their Terminus. So like, do I want to just play into them Terminusing again? I don't know that I do. I think next turn I'm probably just gonna activate Ravine, but this is all creatures, not just like non-land creatures, right? Yeah. It's pretty rough, but at least if I play a Tarmogoyf, it like commits their turn towards doing that, towards putting a Terminus on top. This could make 3 Angels, which is also bad for me. Like, the issue is if I don't play into the Terminus, they almost definitely just make 3 Angels. It's pretty rough. Yeah, Elgoyf. Again, we know Path is on top, so this isn't getting countered unless they want to shuffle and blind hit it again. That works too, assuming they can find something. They went top. That's not a good sign. They did not reveal, though. Maybe they just have a Terminus on top naturally. That would make sense. No? Okay. I'm pretty scared of what it could be then. Maybe the Terminus is like the second card down and they've got an instant speed way to draw a card here. Push is a dead one. Alright, I'll go to combat. Maybe it's like a Cycle Shark Typhoon. We're just using the path? Sure. We're low on green. Let's get some of that. I mean, they are out of cards, but they've got the Mystic Sanctuary presumably in the deck. And again, if I Scavenging Ooze, they're just gonna put it on top. It's pretty rough, but I mean, then they're not entreating, which I can't beat either. I mean, if they do this, then at least I get to start getting with Ravine. And Ravine is a 2-hit lethal at this point. Not a 2 on top, please. If there's a 2 on top, I'm just like never ever winning. They can't Mystic Sanctuary a 2 on top, which is another attractive reason to make this play. They put the Entreat on top. Yeah, Entreat doesn't cost 2, right? Alright, so they are going to make many Angels. 4 if they want. Three, yep. I'm gonna try to push 1. The issue is like they could Mystic Sanctuary to put a 1-mana thing back on top, which would counter my Fatal Push. But I mean, there's like no way to get around that. I mean, at least this way they're not putting Entreat back on top, which I also can't beat. Flooded Strand revealed. Alright, so I get to kill a thing if they let me. Bob is fine. Can't really attack. I guess I'm just going to go for a Dreadbore. We know there's a Flooded Strand on top. So this should resolve. Gonna make sure to leave it green up in case they try to Mystic Sanctuary again. Flooded Strand still on top. And I could just not play the Dark Confidant. But I think I need to swarm the opponent here. If they have just one Angel, I can kill them by activating Ravine. And like if they try to put a 2 on top, they don't actually have a 2 on top. And whatever they target here, I get to eat with the ooze. Alright, I've got a window. Path on top. Okay, that's annoying. But they're going to have to use it pretty defensively. Where we've somehow come out of under the counterbalance. And made it so that their Angel can't attack. They're out of Sanctuaries now as well. Wow, they're going to let me get my Bob trigger? I mean, I guess I should be eating something. We know the hand is Path to Exile. They're out of Mystic Sanctuaries. I guess I really don't want them to be able to, like, snap another Path if they're playing Snapcaster, so I'll eat one. We know their hand is a Path, so, I mean, maybe taking the Path isn't good because they're just going to put another one there pretty quickly. Goyf, not bad. I think I'm going to activate Ravine and just jam all. It puts them really low. Like, they get to Path the Ravine, block a thing, go to 3. Then I get to replay, and then I get to play another Tarmogoyf. I mean, I'm pedal to the metal right now. That would be my assumption, is that like they probably block Dark Confidant, Path of the Ravine, because that keeps them alive. And then I think I have to play this Tarmogoyf in order to be able to threaten lethal next turn. And I'm going to hope, obviously, they don't Miracle a 2 right here. That would be pretty brutal. Path on top again. I can hit him to 1. Did I miss lethal? I think I missed... No, I didn't miss lethal. It didn't matter. I'll say, like, maybe I could have eaten something to guarantee the win, but it didn't work out that way. Hey, Bloodbraid. Good time to draw it. You want to Miracle a Cryptic Command off the top? Terminus. Alright, well, that's 1 turn too short. We even hit a push. Excellent. Alright, so I didn't think I was winning that game a few turns back. Ashiok will prevent the Mystic Sanctuary shenanigans, as will Nile Spellbomb. I don't think we're Necromentia-ing. Brutality can be good for scoping out various counter spells. I don't think I'm going to max out on them, though, because I don't think I'm cutting like the Inquisition and Thoughtseize package, and I don't want to overboard into similar effects. Wrenn and 6 isn't killing a whole lot. Same with Terminate, and as good as the Fatal Pushes looked there, I really don't think they're worth it. They just don't do enough. Big Daddy Snow, thanks for the sub. I appreciate it. This is looking pretty close to what I think I'm going to submit. Oof. I don't think I can keep this. Like, too many lands. This is better. I think I'm going to bottom the Brutality. It's just the least individually powerful card in the hand. I'm not going to bottom my 1 mana play, and I don't think I can bottom my potential multi for 1s. So I'll just Inquisition here, and we get to do it anyway. Alright, say yes. If the opponent has the counterbalance, we probably want to take it. They don't have the counterbalance, but they've got other annoying things. Let's take Teferi. I can Brutality next turn to bait the Remands. Teferi is really annoying for a few reasons, one of which being it stops Cascade. Basic Island was played. Alright, another land isn't actually the worst. I think I'm gonna shock. I want to keep the fetch for potentially after Tireless Tracker. So let's shock. Moto stops lagging. Okay, here we go. Yes. Reveal your hand, please. They might just remand so I don't get the extra info, and that it's probably what I'm taking anyway. This way they get to use their mana at least. Would not be surprised if they just snapped it off, assuming they don't have just like another copy. Alright, well, they didn't. If I were the opponent, I would have remanded. That's just me, though. They bottomed 2 with the Omen. Maybe they're just more lands. They've got plenty of those. Island we did not know about. That one will be good later. So we do not know that the opponent has a potential removal spell. So I think this is probably a fine window to put in a tracker. Like, I would love to tracker and then play a land immediately following, assuming it resolves. But if I hit untapped land, I'm almost definitely going to slam a Bloodbraid next turn. And they did bottom with the opt. There's the counterbalance. Alright, so Mystic Sanctuary is online, so they can counter a 1 or 2 mana spell at will. But, I mean, untapping with Tracker feels really good, and untapping and being able to hit a Bloodbraid also feels really good. More likely than not, whatever this Bloodbraid hits is going to get countered, but honestly, they might not want to put a Remander Opt into play, or on top of their library. They revealed Path. What did we even hit? Oh, we didn't hit anything yet. Oh, Kolaghan's Command, that's good. So I guess I'm just going to have the opponent discard and do 2 to the opponent. There's no, like, artifact to kill, nothing, no creature to get back. Why is it giving me the option to kill an artifact? Oh, because I have an artifact. Duh. Alright, so target player discards 2 to a target. Not the most powerful Kolaghan's Command, but I'll take it. And then Path still on top. So this should resolve. There goes Terminus. This is actually kind of a nombo. Now they get to they can put the Terminus on top now, which is kind of funny. Put you to 11, and then I assume they're going to put Terminus on top now. And unless they want to keep the Path and then save Terminus for later. Which also isn't ridiculous. Alright, so Path is no longer on top. It was Terminus. Alright, so there is 1 unknown, and the top card also unknown. Ooh, Ashiok is nice. I guess I'm gonna hope they don't blind flip a 3. I don't have a way to check. They've got Force of Negation and Archmage's Charm as potential ways to counter. Also Teferi. Damn it. That Teferi is brutal. They could even Teferi bounce the clue. What a swing. Like, if that thing resolves, I feel pretty ahead. But as it stands, this Teferi is going to wreak havoc. Like, they might just bounce their own Omen, which would be bad for me. They're bouncing my clue. Sure. So I could Dreadbore the Teferi, but I think it's more free to go after it with the Ravine. Again, we don't know what their hand is, and we also don't know the top of their library, so I don't think I want to risk something getting countered when I can ideally just attack it down. Alright, that worked. And now the Ravine is a 2-hit clock. It was a 2-hit clock already, assuming they fetch. If they don't fetch, then this is fine. Alright, they didn't have the answer for the Ravine last turn, so I'm going to assume they don't have it for it this turn either. Unless they're mind gaming me. Unless their answer was like Cryptic or something. Boo. Alright, well, I didn't play my land first for a reason. Tarn is another Mystic Sanctuary if they want it to be. Come on, deck. That's a good one. If they don't have the counter here, this is going to prevent the Cryptic Command being put on top. We've also got quad black, so we'll make sure to leave 2 black available in the event that this gets remanded. Please no 3 again. That'd be brutal. They could Omen of the Sea in response here. Jace on top though? Yikes. I mean, I've got the Dreadbore for it. You're gonna need to dodge a 2. Alright, well, they're not... It looks like they're not going to put the Jace on top, then. Sure. I mean, even though it's on top, we're just going to mill it with the Ashiok. I guess playing the land now is pretty free. It's not free in that if I draw a tracker, I'll want the landfall. Draw 2, yep. Another draw 2. Yeah. Well, they went from 1 cards to 4 cards. 1 card to 4 cards. That much feels bad. Full-headed Strand that doesn't do anything. Oops from the opponent, right? Yeah, I guess that's just an oops. There's a Liliana. Liliana's not bad here. Another way to pressure the opponent's resources, but that would have us discarding the Dreadbore. If the opponent has found the path to exile, it's possible I should be trying to get the opponent's hand empty before activating the Ravine. But all the cards that the opponent has are new, so there's no guarantee that they've got the answer. That said, if they have the answer and I'm attacking and I'm attacking into one, it'll be on the unfortunate side. But against a small grip of mostly random cards, I think an attack is probably okay. All right, they had it. All right, and then it's probably advantageous to just get this opponent's yard out of here. All right, we milled 2 Jaces and a Cryptic. Wow. Generally, I like minusing the Ashiok because if you hit 1 or 2 ofs, you could potentially cut out avenues of play for the opponent. Trying to snipe cards that are that the opponent has multiple of is less effective, but I mean I still like it. I mean, the opponent does have lots of card advantage going right now between Counterbalance and 2 instances of Scry 2. They went top with that as well, so that's scary. Jace number 3. I guess it makes sense that they play a lot given they're playing Miracles. Might have to be on the mill plan. They're going to have a hard time setting up Miracles because of the Ashiok. It's still going to be rough, though. Just the raw card advantage coming off of this Jace is going to be rough. Maybe I should be playing the 2 lightning bolts out of my sideboard. Ooh, Mentor. Just because I know about potential Jaces. Alright, if the opponent doesn't have a counterspell here, we could be in a pretty good spot. Like, if I Liliana minus... I think I have to Liliana minus first and hope they don't have a spell. Because, like, if I Liliana minus, can get rid of the Mentor, and then I can Dreadboard the Jace. Please don't flip a 3. Or have a spell, really. They chose not to use Counterbalance. I mean, yeah, they know their top card. So maybe it's a 2. If somehow their top card is Mana Leak, I can see wanting to play out the Bloodstained Mire, so I will. Alright, so if their top card is a 2, this is going to suck. It's an Aether Gust. Brutal. Maybe I should have Ashioked first, because like they knew their top card. So yeah, that was an error. Let's keep going after it though. Yeah, I should have definitely minused first, because then at least it's a blind hit. Big mistake. Yep, you can continue drawing cards, because I'm an idiot. Another Mentor. Oof. Looking grim. Spell Bomb, that's not going to do a whole lot. You gonna flip a 1? Hollowed Fountain on top, okay. Draw a card. Yikes. Not super effective. I mean, I guess if they somehow don't have spells, I can edict both things, but that seems highly unlikely. I'm looking pretty dead. I don't think there's anything we could hit at this stage. The Mentors are just going to take over. I'm definitely bringing in the Lightning Bolts. We know about the Jaces, we know about the Mentors. That's enough targets. For purposes of having more time going into the final game, I'll just resign now. All right, so let's bring in the bolts. Over what? I still don't like how little Renin 6 kills. Tarmogoyf again is not a multi for one, but I at some point need to be able to pressure the opponent's planeswalkers. Look at like one of each. Yeah, let's go first. Oof. I don't think we can keep a hand with nothing meaningful to do until turn 3. By the time I get to Liliana, they're very likely to be able to counter it. This is better. I think I'm just gonna ditch the Pyromancer. Like, it's gonna be the last thing I cast anyway. And then I'll lead on the Dark Confidant. Turn 2 is the best turn for it. Especially because it can't be remanded. Their apparent only good answer to it would be Path to Exile. Which at least gives us a card. I almost hit yes by accident. Bloodbraid's a nice pickup. Obviously short lands, but the way these games go, we'll get there. Eventually. Alright, they didn't have a snare, that's good. You ready for the 1-for-1 Miracle Terminus? I mean, I'm happy about that, too. I've got an ooze. Let's get some green. Untapped land would be good. Thoughtseize is fine, too. That can clear the way for an ooze, potentially. Maybe we could also take it to Fairy. Got double counterbalance. Our second counterbalance is a lot worse than first counterbalance. Honestly, I'm just going to take the path. It's the thing that lets me keep the ooze. Yep. Okay. I guess I'm just gonna jam a Bloodbraid. It's pretty unlikely the Bloodbraid itself gets countered, which is good. What land am I getting? Definitely want to get second red. Probably want to max on green for the ooze that I've got, so it looks like a Stomping Ground recipe. And then I'm gonna hope they don't like Miracle Terminus off of the top, or counter some number of these spells. Like, I hope they just have a land on top here. They had a Jace. Alright, so the Bloodbraid is countered. Well, I guess this takes Terminus. But then they can potentially put it on top again. Wow, that was awkward. And I gotta deal with the Jace now, too. I mean, I guess I'll duress you. It's not ideal, but it'll work. Okay, I can take a Cryptic. That's better. Alright, so these are redundant. Alright, so they're drawing a Jace, which is bad for me. But I've got my sideboard tech, Lightning Bolt. We've got Bloodbraid to potentially buy back the... we've got Kolaghan's Command to potentially buy back the Bloodbraid. I guess the opponent's digging for lands. Top. Oof, putting back Cryptic while I have no mana for the Scavenging Ooze to fight it. Yeah. So there is Cryptic on top. Another counterbalance, I guess. If I'm the opponent, I almost like not casting this counterbalance because this card you can shuffle back with Jace. We drew a Bloodbraid. Bloodbraid's a good one, but we know that a Cryptic Command is on top. So this is probably just a good time to cast this Kolaghan's Command to buy back my other Bloodbraid and have the opponent discard a card. If I have the opponent discard a card, that gives them an out to putting Terminus back on top, which is pretty annoying, but we've got the Scavenging Ooze to combat that, so I almost like just going after the opponent's hand. But yeah, we'll return a Bloodbraid and have the opponent discard a card, leaving up a green. And I guess I'll leave up the Stomping Ground because that helps us leave up Bolt if we want it. Alright, this is going to resolve. Probably discard the other counterbalance. Yep. Get in for 2. Alright, so opponent drawing Cryptic. I mean, Bloodbraid is kind of the best thing to cast into that, so I'm happy they've joined the squad. There's the Jace. Alright, so I'm going to let them brainstorm first, and then I'll go for the Bolt on it. Like, the opponent doesn't know that we're able to kill the Jace because there aren't any creatures for the Scavenging Ooze to grow and be able to kill the Jace in one hit. So I'm hoping that this Bolt is able to blindside them. They may be putting this Terminus back on top via the Jace. Bolt. If they put the Terminus on top, then this Bolt is going to work. And like if it doesn't work, then our attack will. They chose not to use. So yeah, they know their top card. They know it's not going to work. Their top card very likely to be just a Terminus. They could also just be shuffling away the Terminus. And I don't think I'm going to tap out because if I put down the mana, they could just Flooded Strand to get another Mystic Sanctuary. So I think I like just casting a Spell Bomb here. Like they know we have at least one Bloodbraid, and we know that the Spell Bomb isn't getting countered, so this seems like an okay spot for it. Jam. Alright, I think we're about even in terms of who's ahead. I mean, double Bloodbraid is the best leftover to have. Alright, are they gonna reveal a Terminus maybe? No? Okay, so Terminus is the card on top of the library then. I mean, I definitely want to get their graveyard empty, so I guess I should pop the Spell Bomb. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely playing Bloodbraid here. So I think I'm gonna after they Terminus, I'm gonna want a way to interact with the graveyard afterwards. So I think I'll actually save the Spell Bomb and just exile the graveyard manually. And now that there's nothing to put back on top, I think exiling the next thing is pretty free. Unless they have like Path, Snap Path. Let's just not eat the next thing. It'll be fine. Wood of Foothills, not excellent. We've got another Overgrown Tomb to get, right? Yeah, okay. Bloodbraid. And this is effectively just going to be 3 points of haste damage. Terminus is on top, presumably. They haven't shuffled it away yet. Ooh, Tracker. Yes, that would have been a reason to not play the land yet, so that's a bit of a misstep. I just wanted to have a green up. Alright, put you to 6. Alright, and then here comes Terminus. Gonna fetch in response. Shock, so I have the Spell available. Well, I want to get the clue here clearly. Order doesn't matter. Alright, and I don't think they're in the position to want to put a Terminus on top, but I'll exile their yard anyway. They could Mystic Sanctuary to put it on top, but I don't think they're quite at the stage where they want to do that. Especially because that could make their own counterbalance pretty awkward. Yeah. We might kill him. Alright, so I will leave up a red source and a green source, I guess. So let's see if this hits him. What do you reveal? Not a force, not a cryptic, please. Cryptic would be the nightmare. They revealed Island. Another spell bomb, sure. That'll resolve. Unless they want to try to counter it. Wow, this is going to be a long league. Alright, they have to be afraid of Bolt. They know we've got him in the deck now. You're countering this? With like a cryptic the hard way? Counter draw, yep. And I guess end step. Oh shit. Excuse my language. Okay, I needed to turn off auto yields in case they decided to try to get the cryptic back. I guess I'll just untap. That's a good one. I mean, they could pretty easily counter it with the top card of the library, but there's not much I can do to avoid that. Should pretty much just yield to this at this point. No 3-mana thing, please. Scry, yeah. They went top. That's not good. Teferi, yikes. Well, at least they don't have a good thing to bounce. If they try to bounce one of my own things, I'll sacrifice it in response to deny them the card. Yeah, they're just plussing. Smart. Sacrifice Clue. Inquisition, not great. Bloodbraid is fine. I guess we get to peek. Sorry, that's a Scavenge Ooze, not a Bloodbraid. I don't know what I said. We got a Gust. Got to dodge a 2 on top. I have an Omen on top. Stop it, opponent. Yep, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's also bad. Oof. Pretty sure we're dead. Yeah, this matchup feels pretty 50-50. I think the opponent just got the better side of it this game. Wow. I guess I'll take a Jace. Yeah, I'm just dead. Like, if I bolt this, they'll just remand it, and then the bolt no longer works. GG. Pretty bad start, but, I mean, the games have been interesting, at least. Really long, too. Holy moly. We're at over an hour and a half already. I think this is the third match in a row of this league where we have to mulligan a one-lander. Yeah, the opponent revealed Yorion. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, welcome back. We're getting crushed. Keep on losing tight games. Bob's a good pickup, though. Really good. Not entirely sure what Selfless Savior could mean. If they attack, I'll block. Just because I'm sure this means that Terminate and Liliana will potentially have good targets. Sophie, yep. Not a bad reveal. Fatal Push, pretty good as well. Actually, probably ideal, because now we can Fatal Push the Stoneforge, and then I'm going to assume that the opponent is going to respond with the Selfless Savior, and then we can respond to that by terminating. Got a 2 for 2. Not the worst. Now we can untap and Bloodbraid or Liliana, depending on what the situation calls for. Them getting Sword, I think, indicates that they've got Batterskull already. I mean, it looks like Bob's going to trigger again. Pretty nice. All my windows are in the way of each other. I wish there was like a more elegant place to put these things. There just kind of isn't. Ghost Quarter, that's fine. Vial, also fine. Pretty interesting brew. I can't say that I've seen this deck before. Although, their deck is letting Dark Confidant do its thing, so that makes me quite happy. So, this would be a good turn to either Bloodbraid or Liliana and Thoughtseize. I think I'm going to lean towards Thoughtseize. There's some pretty powerful stuff they can do with 5 mana. So, especially because I have another thing to do in addition to this Thoughtseize, I just like Thoughtseizing here. Ooh, they're playing a Seasoned Pyromancer, and they are also playing Restoration Angel. Alright, well, Seasoned Pyromancer is going to make my Liliana look really bad. So I think I'm just going to take that, even though it's the thing that provides some graveyard value. I could potentially lose to a Restoration Angel with the sword, though, and that makes me nervous. I think the Seasoned Pyromancer is just going to be way too good. Like, the other cards also seem like they're going to be good, but Pyromancer seems like it's going to be a ridiculous headache. We'll discard a Wrenn. Definitely keeping Bloodbraid. Alright, so now they can flash in the Restoration Angel and equip the sword on their next turn. So an instant speed way to kill something would be pretty nice. I mean, I guess I'm just going to plus the Liliana and discard the Mountain. I expect them to discard their non-Restoration Angel, non-Sword card. Yeah, makes sense. Kolaghan's Command, please. Tarmogoyf is big. Don't have an attack here, unfortunately. The silver lining to the opponent's Restoration Angel sword play is that they have to go after the Liliana, or the Liliana will edict them. That said, they could also just Seasoned Pyromancer instead. No, it looks like they want to do this. Yeah, if they go after the Liliana, that means the Bob is going to continue to do its thing. But yeah, they would have to tap out for sword and equip, so it's an interesting play either way. Yep. Yep. So I mean, this is a two-turn clock if they decide to go at me. But if they go at me, this Liliana is going to just kill it. So yeah, it makes sense that they're not. Okay. Kolaghan's Command, please. Nope. So I mean, I guess I'll play the Forest because that'll save a life. By not having to tap the peatland. Also, if we hit like Ooze or something, then I can activate it. Kolaghan's Command, please. Right in 6. That's not a Kolaghan's Command. I mean, I guess I'm attacking all. They could vial something in at 2, but they've got 1 card. Yeah, that was a pretty hard hit. They've got to be concerned. Should I just go at the opponent here so that way maybe more creatures are lethal, or some more combinations are lethal next turn? I don't have a good land to get back, so I don't mind just sending one upstairs. Yep, the opponent is not going to win by sitting back. So, I mean, I'm going to need to kill the opponent this upcoming turn. Killing the Bob makes some sense. They can just kill me next turn. They don't want me to dig to ways to answer their threat or just kill them. Alright, and there's the Batterskull. Batterskull's a rough one. I mean, I've got a lot of things that just kill them, including Kolaghan's Command and more copies of Wrenn and 6. That doesn't do it. Goyf is a 5/6 currently. They are still dead on board, aren't they, right? Because, like, if they block a Bloodbraid, they're going up to 6, taking lethal. If they block Tarmogoyf, they're going up to 6, taking lethal. So I think I'm going to sacrifice Peatland to begin. See what that reveals. Ooh, that's a good one. So I guess this is just happening. So I guess I'll destroy an artifact and 2 damage to the opponent, and then like there's almost no way I can lose. Play around Mana Tithe. There's so many modes on this thing. Destroy an artifact, 2 to a target. Artifact, target. Cool. Alright, so looking like some kind of just Boros Stoneforge shenanigans. I support it. Bolt is probably fine. It's less good versus all of their multi for ones like Restoration Angel and Seasoned Pyromancer, but they've got some things that it hits. Not many things. My sideboard is not really equipped for mid-range jank stuff. Inquisitions and Thoughtseizes do tend to be worse versus mid-range decks, and I think Thoughtseize has some value given we know the opponent is playing Restoration Angel. Dark Confidant really won us that game, didn't it? I think it drew us like 5 cards. We played it on turn 2 and it just didn't die. Yeah, I think this is probably fine. Like, I could see an argument for Brutality. It's just like another way to kill something tiny, but I don't think we need more copies of ways to kill small stuff. Wow, this is like my 8th one-lander today. Playing 24 lands. Deck hates me. Holy moly. Alright, well, I've got Bob and like a couple things to do off of 1 land. Swamp doesn't even cast Ren and 6. I'll just bottom that. This deck has just been absolutely weird today. Playing 24 lands and I like can't find a hand with a good mix. Alright, I'll probably still lead on Thoughtseize. If they've got like Stoneforge or something, I'll probably want to take it. They've got Skyclave Apparition, Leonin Arbiters. And I guess I'll take the Arbiter. Like, these Skyclaves are really annoying, but I need my fetch lands to be live. Aggressive. Okay, we hit 1. So if I go land Dark Confidant, the odds they just Skyclave it are 100%. The issue is I don't have another good play other than just Fatal Push the Giver, which honestly, it's not nothing. Yeah, I'll just go to Fatal Push the Giver. I don't want to give them just a really good turn if I can avoid it. Thalia. Rude. Alright, well, I don't have extra red. I'm just gonna pass. I mean, I don't want to give them a really good Skyclave if I can avoid it. Yorion into the hand makes sense. Red Source. Bloodbraid. I mean, feeding Bobs to Skyclaves is not going to be a way that I win. Bloodbraiding into another creature could be. I need to find the land for that. Okay, that can get a red source too, which is nice. I still think I should Bloodbraid here. If I hit a removal spell, it'll be unfortunate because I can't actually cast it, but I think the upside of hitting literally any creature is probably too great. Tarmogoyf would be, I guess, best case. I mean, Bob's a Bob. I guess Tracker would have been even better. Neither one of these blocks a Thalia super well. I mean, if they attack with a Thalia, I might just double block it. I am bleeding. Oof. These are good leftovers to have. Gonna need a way to kill this Restoration Angel. That doesn't do it. I guess I'm gonna Hail Mary a Pyromancer. Sky Whale. Nope. Pretty dysfunctional game. I hate mulligans when you just can't control it. Brutality is another way to kill Skyclave, but I mean, that doesn't seem great. I think I'm just going to keep it as is. Hey, we got a functional one. Got a Vial. They've got a Rest in Peace, a Giver, and a Stoneforge. I think I'm just going to take the Stoneforge, honestly. They've got the Batterskull already. Giver is annoying, but like it's not super pressuring. It's not super pressuring, and like Rest in Peace I just straight don't care about. I have 2 Tarmogoyfs in the deck. Those are the only things I care about the art, other than like second half of Seasoned Pyromancer. So there goes the Giver and the Plains. Blackleaf Cliffs, nice pickup. Some consideration to just fetching here because the opponent could have a Leonin Arbiter. I will accept the charges. Ghost Quarter I did not know about. Rest in Peace I don't care about. Liliana Revealed, not bad. Looks like an easy time for Forest. Forest doesn't cast anything mana. It doesn't cast anything like mana intensively. It only casts for generic mana. So maybe it's better to just get the Swamp here. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's make sure all of our lands actually cast stuff. Alright, I like the spot. We've got a Bob going. We're at a pretty comfortable life total, and we've also got Liliana in play to pressure the hands. I like the spot. As long as this Bob isn't abnormally damaging, we should be good. Wildfire, that's fine. We can get our green. Revealed Fatal Push, not bad. Alright, Renin 6 I suppose does care about the Rest in Peace, but the minus ability is plenty relevant against this opponent. Also, we could just ditch it to the Liliana, which I think is going to be what happens. We've got plenty of other good removal. They discarded a Ghost Quarter. don't think I'm going to fly close to the sun and play second copy of Dark Confidant. I think I'll just save it as a backup to the first one. Here, let me pop out the exile piles instead. So these are exile. Skyclave. Annoying, but fine. They played this Field of Ruin. There goes the Bob. We've got a backup. And then I guess I'm going to use my Fatal Push here. Terminate is more mana intensive, but it more easily destroys Restoration Angel without needing Revolt. So I think I like just casting the Fatal Push here, especially because I've got Revolt pretty reliably right now. Get me my 2/2. Pyromancer is a nice one. If I'm playing Pyromancer, what am I discarding? I'm definitely plussing the Liliana of the Veil. So I think I should Pyromancer first if I'm going to do that. I guess whatever I do, I can lead on an attack. Like, the opponent is going to almost definitely plan on Batterskulling, in which case I'm going to want the Kolaghan's command to deal with it. So if I'm Pyromancering, I think I like discarding Dark Confidant and Terminate, but I think those two cards still have lots of value. So I almost like just plussing the Liliana, discarding Pyromancer, and playing Dark Confidant, holding up Terminate. I don't think I can lose with that progression, so let's just do that. We'll just ditch the Pyromancer. Presumably they'll keep their Batterskull. They are. Play my Dark Confidant, and say go. This seems like a pretty good spot. Like, if they spike a land now, I can just crush them anyway. Path on that is annoying. I've only got 2 black. Let's get some more. Put Yorion into the hand. Alright, so they have a 2-carder now. Liliana is going to keep ticking away, though. Alright, I'll just discard the land. I don't actually have adequate pressure right now. The opponent's done a pretty good job at killing all my stuff. I did make the decision to discard a Pyromancer, so I could have potentially had more threats. Flicker Wisp. Alright, well that gets to kill my 2/2 pretty freely. I could just use the Kolaghan's command now to have the opponent discard a card and like kill the Flicker Wisp. Alternatively, I could just keep it in my hand and minus with a Liliana, which I think is probably worth it. Like, if I can keep a Kolaghan's command in my hand, probably should. Like, I could work towards ultimate on Liliana, but that doesn't seem great. And Bloodbraid kind of the perfect draw. It's the pressure I was missing and just another 2-for-1. Inquisition doesn't hit anything, but I'll get it out of the deck. And between 2 hits for 3 and the Kolaghan's command, we've got lethal next turn. But yeah, you can see how like we just really have not cared about this Rest in Peace. Alright, Pyromancer gets them a token. If they can find a path to exile, they can potentially stay in it. Alright, so they're just dead on board. Or they don't know that they're dead. But they are between an Edict and I guess the Fatal Push that we've now drawn. Destroy an artifact, 2 to a target. Attack. Boom. Did it on the board. Another no-lander. Classic. We'll keep this. I think I'll just bottom redundant Scavenging Ooze. It's kind of crazy how many one and no landers I've been encountering. I would love to know the statistical odds of it happening. Hey, we might actually finally be up against Uro. The stand's pretty good versus Uro piles. So maybe we finally got our wish of testing versus the enemy. Well, Simic is not going to have an easy time dealing with the Bob. Trigger. Nice. Not as nice. Alright, well, we revealed the swamp. Let's just play that and get our Liliana down. There's some value to getting a second creature down, but I like pressuring from multiple angles if possible. Condescend. Okay, this is not what I expected. Don't know what blue-green deck plays Condescend. But I mean, any deck trying to 1-for-1 me with counter spells makes me happy to have a Bob in play. They went top with the Scry. Nissa. Alright, so they spiked a land off of the top. Wow. It's a lot of lands. I mean, I'm going to attempt to kill the Nissa here. They could obviously still be playing a third color that enables them to kill the Bob, but I think they probably would have killed the Bob had they been able to. Unless this is like a condemn, in which case waiting makes some sense. No, they just wanted me to get land. They just wanted me to get cards off the Bob. Okay. That's pretty strange to me. I probably would have prioritized getting the Bob off of the field if I were the opponent. So the 0 is look at the top card. If it's a land or a creature with permanent cost less than or equal to the number of loyalty counters on Nissa, put it into the play. It's -6 is untap 2 lands. They become 5/5s until end of turn. So I think I'm getting Stomping Ground at the end step. They went bottom with that Scry. Yeah. So maybe I just shouldn't crack the fetch land yet because the opponent could have Snapcaster Mage and then use the Path to Exile. So it's probably just safer to untap, draw another land. Oof. Alright, so unfortunately we do not get to kill this Nissa even with an attack. Just an absurd flood here. Draw 2. Draw 1. Wonder if they got any miracles going on. Probably not, given their creature base. Top with that. Attack for 2. Don't think I'm going to fetch shock just to eat another thing. Just going to get my stomping ground and untap. Come on, spell. Well, it's a spell. I think I'm just gonna save it for a future turn where I want to like pair it with something. Alternatively, I could just Thoughtseize now, because if I can have the opponent discard a creature, then maybe I can actually threaten to kill this Nissa. I like that idea. At least maybe I can get them to chump block. Counterspell. Yeah, that works. Should probably just leave these fetches in play, because if I draw a Tireless Tracker and it resolves, it's going to be really good. There are 2 trackers. I'll still keep slowly eating the opponent's yard. I don't really know the core of the opponent's strategy yet, though. Nissa and Hierarch are interesting. Shark for 1. Are you like digging for a land? I guess you would have scryed first. Don't really understand that sequencing, but whatever. Bottom. Alright, well, I'm going to eat the Sanctuary target, that's for sure. There's an argument to keeping the Condescend in the yard so potential Tarmogoyfs are large, but they're already going to be big enough. We've got land, enchantment, sorcery, planeswalker to beef them up. I think that should be big enough to punch through just about anything. Another Hierarch. Dude, this is a strange deck, but I mean, it looks pretty cool. Attack for 3. Yep. I guess from a size of graveyard perspective, I should eat 1 enchantment. Come on, tracker. I mean, that's a Kolaghan's Command. Alright, start the turn by attacking Nissa. Maybe I can finally kill it. Really don't know what the opponent is doing. Beating my flood is what they're doing. I imagine they've got Uro somewhere in there. Killing a hierarch would give me some food to eat. But I mean, doing it now just really doesn't seem like it's got any benefits. I'll just pass. It'll take off like one Exalta trigger, but that's really not my biggest concern right now. They had bottomed with the previous scry. They bottomed again. I mean, if the opponent attacks with just the shark, maybe I'd shock that. But that doesn't give me food for the scavenging ooze that I have in play. Alright, the land is basically nothing. So should I kill a hierarch because it's probably going to happen anyway and that prevents one exalted trigger? Probably. And then I'll have the opponent discard a card. It's not an ideal Kolaghan's Command. Counterspell here would be bad, but based off of how this has been going, they would have countered it at any stage, so timing isn't super relevant. Or they have the ability to counter it. They have had the ability to counter it at any stage. Cryptic. Counter draw, yep. A threat? No way. I'm going to hold the lands, because again, if I draw a tracker, there's going to be more value to just holding them. Scry 2, yep. Bottom again. So, eating something with Tarmogoyf, with Scavenging Ooze, namely the Hierarch, does shrink the Tarmogoyf. I also don't really want to be fetching right now, so it's probably best to untap and go after the Nissa. Not great. Drew Cryptic. That's not good. Just like now Nissa gets to ultimate. And I can't actually beat that with how well I've drawn. Bouncing? I mean, they still do just get to block, but this is much riskier versus Oh, they're bounce drawing. What? Okay. I mean, if they ultimate the Nissa, I can no longer win. Put your Cryptic back on top. Yeah, that's the line. Wow, I think I should have won this game so ridiculously easily. I just like literally didn't draw a spell for my first five draws and my first 8 like draw steps, including like the Bob triggers. Alright, well they're playing Mystic Sanctuary, so I tend to like the Ashiok Spellbomb package. I mean they're playing 1 mana Dork, so like maybe the bolts have some merit. And they're also just like playing Planeswalkers. Brutality hits the Cryptic commands and stuff. Wrenn and 6 seems like it's going to be phenomenal. Terminate seems like it's going to be on the weak side. Liliana of the Veil is worse versus Sharknado. I'm boarding in some brutalities I can probably trim on Inquisition. Again, I don't think I want the third one of these. I'm not playing against like a hyper aggro deck where they're really, really good. Need to cut 4. Honestly, Kolaghan's command really didn't look that strong. Blue-green control just like wasn't really doing anything that Kolaghan's command interacts with profitably. So I need 2 more cuts. Pushes are probably pretty weak outside of killing sharks. I mean they've got the 1 mana creatures, but I'm bringing in bolts for those too. I need 1 more cut. Let's just have it be Dreadbore. Ready for my no-lander? Alright. If the opponent has like turn 1 mana creature, Wrenn and 6 is going to look pretty strong. They've also mulliganed to 5 so far. That's good. Leyline out of blue-green, I guess. My hand doesn't deal with that a whole lot right now. So do I want to play the Resource Engine or the generic beater? In general, I like playing the Resource Engine first, especially versus the control deck. And I'll sack the Mire because that lets me get something back. My opponent, I'll just show you what they said. Legendary. Bob is excellent. They could have up the counter spell, so I'm definitely going to play my lands first. Because if they got Condescend, I want to be able to pay the 1. Still get to scry too. Wait, top bottoms. No land? After topping? Well, they can't even Sharknado me for 1. I'll use the fetch land so I have something to buy back with the run in 6. I'll conserve my life total. It's pretty free to do so. I'll get Swamp. Cast a Tarmogoyf. Sure. Again, any game where the opponent is counter spelling me 1 for 1 and I've got a Bob going, I'm pretty happy. Sure. Mono blue memes. Given the presence of Leyline of Sanctity, like the hand disruption definitely gets worse. Maybe for that reason, I should bring in another Brutality and cut another Inquisition, because if they've got the Leyline and the Inquisition is dead, at least the substitute has other relevant modes. Another awkward mana hand, but I mean, it's acceptable. Gonna need a green source. Green source? Green source. I'm gonna be fetch shocking at some point anyway, so maybe I should just be doing this now to play around something stupid like a Tail's End. That card has been rising in popularity. Played against it just recently. I'll get second red, first green. So now we could be facing Remand, Mana Leak, Condescend for 1. I think all of these things are good reasons to just cast the Brutality now instead of the Ren and 6. It will not pay. Nissa on an empty board would suck. Alright, well, there's a Nissa on an empty board. If they zero it, I can Ren and 6 and ping it, but we're not that fortunate. I might just season Pyromancer as a means of pressuring it. They topped. Ooh, Bob is good. Now I just want a Bob. That also pressures it. If they're gonna Mystic Sanctuary to put a mana leak on top, maybe I should have a mana available. I guess Sanctuary doesn't actually do the thing quite yet. Nissa continues going up, which is scary. That -6 is a deal 10 effectively. And they top bottomed with that. Maybe I should be expecting a Shark Typhoon. Spot removal would be good for that reason. Well, I am not really in an excellent position to play around it, so I think I'm just going to go for the attack. Try to keep this Nissa off of a potential ultimate. And if they've got the Shark Typhoon, it's unfortunate. Looks like it. Trade ya. So now I think I'm gonna season the Pyromancer here. I really need a way to get this Nissa damaged. And I guess I'll discard. Don't even know really. Like, it's enticing to just bin 2 spells so I have tokens to attack with. It doesn't feel great. But like this Nissa is being a really big pain. Maybe this Liliana is just too slow. I'll just like ditch another land. Like I need to keep the spells. Alright, there's a tracker. Alright, I guess I'll Black Leave now. That takes down the Spellbomb activation plus draw a card. But I don't think I'm going to need to use it quite yet. This Nissa's really given me the hands, but I just haven't had a good way to pressure it. Top and bottom. They did not play a land either. Did I just draw the Dreadbore? I took the Dreadbore out, didn't I? I feel like I did. Yeah, I took it out. I mean, I guess I'm going to try to attack this Nissa now. They've got another Shark Typhoon waiting for me. It's going to be unfortunate. They don't, though. Okay. So I guess they've got Counterspell. If I play the tracker, it's not getting around Mana Leak, unfortunately. I can get a Bob or a Tarmogoyf through a Mana Leak, though. I can also get it through a Condescend. So I think I should probably go that route. Goyf hits harder, so I guess I'll try for that. They could have Cryptic, but then I still got a follow-up. Yeah, maybe I should have just played the tracker anyway and let that get countered, because then I get to play 2-mana thing afterwards anyway. Yeah, but it is a Condescend for 3. I'm going to pay for it. I have kept Nissa off of Ultimate for one more turn. Barring a Cryptic command, I should be able to get this Nissa dead. Alright, if they want to Mystic Sanctuary, I've got the Spell Bomb for it. Although there's not really anything they'd want to put on top quite yet. It's a fairy, that's big. Tuck it, yep. I mean, I get to kill the Teferi. If I go Wrenn and 6, I can just use that to ping the Teferi, and then I can go full force at the Nissa. Seems like what I want to be doing. I guess this is also a fine opportunity to get the tracker down. So they could have Force of Negation, so to influence my decision, I guess I should attempt the Wrenn and 6 first. Because if this gets countered, then I'll want to send the Elemental at the Teferi. So this will kill Teferi. This will keep Nissa off of ultimate. And then I get to tracker. Play a swamp, which will trigger the tracker and leave a Spellbomb activation available. They also pitched a Teferi to that force. Would love to avoid a sweeper here. Sweeper to kill everything, and then ultimate Nissa is a way I lose. Although an ultimate on Nissa doesn't actually just kill me quite yet. Bottom with that. Third Teferi, okay, that makes some sense, I guess. Drawing a card after bottoming, okay. And I think I will pop the Spell Bomb. So yes, Bloodbraid's a good pickup. So I have to figure out how I want to split my attention here. I guess I could just lead on the Bloodbraid and see what it hits and make a decision from there. Liliana, not the worst. I guess I could plus first so that if the opponent's last card is Path to Exile, that can help me figure out how I want to approach this. I think if we end up back in a top deck war, I'm going to want to have my resource engine, so I'll discard Tarmogoyf. A generic clock isn't exactly what I'm looking for at the moment. So this can go at Teferi. This can go at Teferi. That kills Teferi. Then this can go at Nissa, and this can go at Nissa. Jam. And then I will sacrifice the clue, because if I draw a land, I'll probably end up playing it. I think we're ahead now. I definitely like not playing the Bob, because if the opponent is playing sweepers, I just get set right back to 0. They had Leyline. Alright, Teferi down, Nissa almost down. It's a slog, but we're getting there. Bottom. Alright, so now I've got a card I don't mind discarding. I'll lead on plus. See if something happens. Yeah, so if they're cycling for a shark, I'll probably want to keep the push, in which case I'll just ditch probably the Bob. I like having the Planeswalker. we'll get a 4/4, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just going to ditch the Bob now. Seems like Renin 6 is going to let me start triggering Tracker, and then Push gets the Shark out of the way. Alright, so I'm gonna kill the Nissa. Go at opponent, go at opponent, go at opponent. I guess sacrificing first clue is relatively free. Do an extra damage. Ooze, I'll probably hold that again to be wary of a sweeper. We did it. That was ridiculous. That first game, we just really had nothing going. Yeah, we got a keeper. This hand's actually quite good. I rolled a 1 and the opponent expertly rolled a 1 as well, and then I rolled a 5. Inquisition, target you, opponent. Hello. Abzan. So I think I like actually just taking the Thoughtseize here. Given the street, it's looking like Shadow. So Thoughtseize is also extra relevant because it helps the opponent detriment their own life total. Also, if the opponent has their turn 2 Tarmogoyf, we get to just untap and Edict it. Get our Ooze down. So both Lilianas should be pretty good here, but I would love to dodge a an Inquisition or Thoughtseize here so I can actually stick the Liliana. Skyclave will take care of the Liliana. Alright, so they shocked a Temple Garden. Played the Goyf. Yeah, I think the plan is still Liliana minus. I mean, the issue is like Liliana of the Veil is very powerful versus this opponent. So them Skyclaving it isn't even preferable. But honestly, I think I like it just because it's a tempo swing. Like if they play their 2-mana creature and I'm on the play, it's just so good to Edict it. Especially because Liliana's edicts get worse the more creatures the opponent has. And plus, the opponent playing a 2/2 here and taking the Liliana of the Veil means I get to Liliana Last Hope it and just give it 0 power. So like I'll get to control the board with the Last Hope in play, which does seem good. Yep. From here, another creature could be scary. Rancor. Alright. Wasn't expecting that. Effectively 2 haste damage. 4 haste damage, okay. Well, my Liliana's dead now. Wasn't expecting that, I'll say that. Stomping around, more green, more red. There we go. Kolaghan's Command's a really nice draw. And I'm thinking I should probably just draw step it. Just so the opponent doesn't have another potential threat that I can't deal with right now. They're going to get both of their Rancors back, though. Double Rancor, not what I was expecting. They discarded a Skyclave. Or sorry, it was a Marsh Flats. Alright, so they get their Rancors back. I'll get a 3/3, which is actually pretty good on the board. Wrenn 6, a good pickup. Just 2 things to do. Wrenn 6 actually lethal next turn if you take into account a hit. I tapped pretty poorly. Now if I want to eat something, I'll have to fetch shock. Just played a little fast and loose. Goyf, yep. Rancor. No? Oh, they don't have the mana for second Rancor, sure. So I do just have them dead here. I get to eat a thing. Something is going to get in for 3, and then the Wrenn 6 can do the last point. Okay, they see it. Alright, so Abzan, Rancor, Shadow. Pretty interesting. I like the spell bombs. Honestly, that's probably about it. Don't think I'm Ashiok-ing. Brutality seems a bit slow. I think Wrenn 6 isn't going to kill a whole lot, and I do like trimming on the Inquisition and Thoughtseize package. It's very possible something is just better than this Thoughtseize. Maybe I just bring the Wrenn 6 back in. It's not super ideal. I mean, it's like either that or a Lightning Bolt, and Lightning Bolt just almost doesn't kill anything. I'll bring the Wrenn 6 back. Yeah, I mean, this is a little on the weak side towards a Inquisition or Thoughtseize from the opponent, which they're likely to have. Yeah, but I mean, it's pretty hard to go down on resources versus a mid-range matchup, which like pretty much everything is these days, it feels like. They took a push? Okay, that might just indicate they've got a removal spell for the Bob. Alright, and I think I will just go ahead and play the Mire instead of the Ravine. If they have 2 mana threat here, I'm gonna really wish I can push into Bob, as opposed to like having the Bob and letting them have their threat stick around. That puts me weak to a Liliana in that I guess progression, but I think that's thinking too far ahead. I don't have enough info by the time that happens. So much will change. All right, and there's the Tarmogoyf. All right, so I'm gonna Overgrown Tomb push. Yeah, and like I said, it's pretty likely they've got an answer to the Dark Confidant. Oh, Wrenn 6 is actually kind of nice because I mean that's something to do that they don't guarantee have an answer for. But I mean the odds that the Dark Confidant is good. I really don't think this thing is going to trigger. Let's just get the Wrenn 6 down because I think this is the thing that they're less prepared for. Like if I play the Bob and they kill it immediately, it's like almost as if I used the turn doing nothing. And like if they have like a Liliana of the Veil, like I mentioned before, Wrenn 6 makes that look weaker. Another Goyf and a Giver. Oh boy. Not great. Don't really want to fetch a basic right now. Maybe it's free, but maybe not. We'll see. So it's going at me as a 4/5. I can make it a 2/3, but I think I'm going to want to save the spell bomb for something else. This giver is on the annoying side. Push, yeah, that makes sense. Ooze. I mean, that might be able to outsize the Goyf, but the giver is going to make that not really a good plan. It looks like I'm going to be fetching basic here. I need to start eating stuff with ooze. Keep up an activation and a spell bomb activation. If I spell bomb the opponent and then eat my own Dark Confidant, my ooze would outsize it. Doesn't look like I'm getting the chance though. I guess actually that's not even true. Like had I eaten my own thing and then popped in Spellbomb, there wouldn't be creature in the yard. But ooze getting put in the yard means that's not actually true. Shrink the Goyf by 1. More lands, not good. Too many lands, too many lands. This adds sorcery. I mean, they've got to be afraid of the Renin 6 for at least one turn, because like then I could ultimate. Maybe they got like another trophy or something. Target permanent gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. If you have 5 or less life, you and each permanent gain protection. Okay. Alright, so they kind of have to hit Renin 6 at least once. They also have pretty much all the pushes that my heart could desire. Yeah, there they go. Shadow, that's bad. Yeah, tracker's good. Not great. I mean, I like kind of have to fetch shock here, unless like I'm resigning myself to hitting only a 1 mana removal spell. I mean, what can I hit here at 2 mana or less? It's only like Fatal Push, Dreadbore, Terminate. Yeah, all the 1 mana removal is at a single black, so I guess this is coming in tapped. The issue is like if I draw Dreadbore or Terminate, then I'm gonna wish it was untapped. Needs to be Fatal Push. There's 2 left. Nope. Got a chump blocker. Do I even block? They'll just literally eat it. Let's take it. Souls too? Jeez. Another land. Another land. Too little, too late. Next game. Alright, so given the presence of Giver of Runes, do I want to bring in the lightning bolts for any reason? Still don't think I do. There's just no way that's good. Like, what am I replacing? There's just not anything good to replace. Like, I could replace some number of Inquisitions or Thoughtseizes. Or, sorry, the Thoughtseizes are already out. Inquisition is really bad. Just, like, have it as one more out to something. Sure. Let's go first. We've got the bolt, sure. If they've got Giver on 1, I guess I should play the Mire first to fetch the Blood Crypt. Babble. The opponent didn't mulligan once, which is good for me. Looks like an easy Blood Crypt. Bob, please do a good thing. There's a lot that they could have that just kills this. But I'm not going to do nothing when I've got a good thing to do. Interesting they didn't even shock, given they're the shadow deck. Maybe they just don't have any shadows in their hand. They want to save their life because they know I'm going to be attacking them at some point. Trophy. Yeah, I'll take the land. Bloodbraid would be good. Tracker would be good. There's the Bloodbraid. So let's, I guess, next turn, I might want to Liliana and play like an Inquisition or Thoughtseize. So I think I should be shocking in the Overgrown Tomb here. It doesn't let me double the red spell though, and double red spell is pretty likely. Like it's more likely that I want a double red spell than I want a double black spell. So I think Stomping Ground is probably the better shock. Here's a reason why I don't like Trophy usually. There's the Tracker. This was a really good turn. As facilitated by my opponent's Assassin's Trophy. Skyclave. Or Souls. Skyclave, sure. I get to Liliana Edict that. Maybe I should just Lightning Bolt that, because Liliana answers way more of the creatures that I'm concerned about. I think that's a good thing to do. So I will cast Lightning Bolt on the Skyclave, which will net me a 3/3. I will shock in this Overgrown Tomb. I will cast a Liliana of the Veil. And I almost don't want to plus, but plussing means that it's good for 2 edicts. And I do also think there's value to getting the Spellbomb in play, so it seems crazy, but I almost just don't want to plus. Honestly, though, like, it's probably... I should probably just try to press the advantage while I'm ahead and plus anyway, and just discard the Spellbomb. It's pretty unlikely, I think, that there's like a meaningful graveyard interaction about to happen, like outside of Lingering Souls. And my creatures should be able to punch through Lingering Souls anyway. Like, I think having Liliana being worth 2 creatures is probably good. Like, where I lose now is if the opponent has Lingering Souls and something like a Shadow, and the Shadow is padded from the Liliana. Trophy, sure. Alright, let's attack first. And then Inquisition, and then probably just kill the opponent with the Kolaghan's Command. Alright, so I think we win now. Yeah, Faith Shield. Boom. Wow, this is a long league. We just hit 3 hours. Okay. So we got the 3-2. So this is my second time playing this exact list. Both leagues got a 3-2. I liked the potential for this deck to really have those snowballing cards. We definitely saw Tracker draw many cards in a few games. We saw Dark Confidant draw many cards in more than a few games. Same with Wrenn and 6. The Bloodbraids felt really good as a top end. We have a lot of really good top of the curve for it to hit, and lots of good medium curve for it to hit too, so I still think this is a pretty good easy 4 Bloodbraids. I gotta say, again, I did not really miss having the other Tarmogoyfs. I think 2 is probably fine if I'm replacing them with just more card advantage engines that have the potential to snowball, like I keep saying. The 4 Fatal Pushes have been still pretty good. We've played against Shadow a small handful of times, and they've all been pretty good at killing the glyphs and the shadows that the bolts wouldn't kill. That said, I think I have boarded in bolts a fair amount of the time, so maybe I should be reanalyzing, I guess reconsidering the push and bolt split. But I think I'm comfortable at 4 and 2 right now. 4 pushes in the main. But I think I could be convinced to shake it up a little bit and see how that goes. The Dreadbore Terminate combination has also been fine. Dreadbore and Terminate and the 2 Tarmogoyfs really my only spells in the deck that do a singular job. So they're definitely the most linear cards. Like, obviously Fatal Push, Inquisition, Thoughtseize also do a singular job, but these do it much more efficiently. So I think the more awkward spells in the deck, in terms of just They do the one thing that they do, albeit well, is just like these 4 cards. So I like having just like general flexibility. Pretty much everything is able to play more than one role, which is pretty nice. I'm uncertain of this split. I still haven't had it come up where the instant speed on the Terminate was better than just having a Dreadbore. The sorcery speed has been good enough pretty much every time that I've seen it so far in roughly 10 to 15 matches. So maybe it's worth going up to a Dreadbore and down a Terminate for a total of 2 Dreadbores. That's something I may toy with in the future. I liked having access to the 3 Oozes and the 3 Bobs. Dark Confidant continues to be an all-star in this meta that's really shaking up to be mostly mid-range and control. I really like how the Dark Confidant is positioned right now. The sideboard, I guess I should talk about a little bit. I've liked the bolts out of the side. I've liked the spell bombs out of the side. Same with the brutality. I find myself not playing the 3rd brutality a lot because like the matchups where I bring it in as the duress mode, I've already got like 6 things that I'm usually keeping in, so like I don't want to overboard on a similar effect. The 3rd one still might be worth it for the hyper aggro decks, but we just like haven't run into any of those, so it's possible this brutality should change. Boarded in I have the Necromencias for the various Titan and other combo strategies. We just haven't faced any of those. Similarly, Ashiok pretty good. I have brought in Ashiok though for the various mid-range matchups that rely a lot on searching versus like for example Stoneblade, and also great versus the Uro piles, which we just haven't run into. And then the Cleansing Wildfire and Alpine Moon, obviously just more land hate to pair with potentially Necromentia if I'm playing against something like Tron or, again, Amulet. We just haven't seen a matchup in the most recent 10 matches with this list where Cleansing Wildfire or Alpine Moon was really able to display what it could do. I don't think that necessarily means that it doesn't deserve a spot, but we just haven't run into the matchups where they're particularly amazing. So that's my thought on this particular. These are my thoughts on this particular league. Sorry it's going so long. This is literally over 3 hours now. But I mean, a mid-range meta promotes really long leagues, right? Because the matches definitely go much longer. So with that said, I'm gonna end the video here. Hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. And until next time, Jun them out.